circumstance.
Unbelievable.
I surprised the hell out of you, didn't I?
I want to play.
Why does this do
I
this?
missed the kickoff.
So Jay, what do you want me to do? When you kick off, try to stall. So, we kick off, one play, Jay standing right beside him. Oh, okay. Good to go. So where did you come from? Woodville, or Bennington? Must be 5 minutes ago.
Well, I was wondering 5 minutes. But... yeah, it's one of those great phone calls. It's like, hey, Jay, you gonna be here? Well, yeah, it's a 10 o'clock game. No, it's not. It's 9:30. Oh.
So Jay, what are you doing? Oh, my porch drinking coffee.
Good thing. It's a good thing.
You wanna bring your coffee out here to the sideline right quick? or-
Omaha's finest wasn't around because I was making some Steve McQueen moves.
I was going, I got on the interstate the other day and I was going a little fast and the sheriff pulled up beside me and he kind of looked at me. I'm like, oh, sorry. Just slowed down and he just went on. I'm like, thank you.
Stories we have. Baseball.
Where the fuck? Why can't I monitor it from inside?
What do you think?
Well, essentially, that was. a
Feel
race
confident?
with arena football as well.
I can play with it a little more. here.
Well, hell, earlier in the season, we were just.
That is all charged, so go ahead and you can turn it on if you want. Oh wait, no you can't.
Yeah, it's on.
Hey, Zach.
No, it's not connected yet. Listening?
Yeah, here.
Thank you. Play.
Ooh,
Supposed to be.
okay.
but it's-
Okay. So are we gonna hear that the whole time? Okay.
I just wanted to make sure. We can hear that the whole time.
Cool.
There we go.
That's what you love to do, Sean.
Okay, so here's what it looks like.
That's perfect. Because if you zoom in, then you're gonna lose the edge of the screen, right? Yeah, yep, just leave it like that.
That's fine.
What's that? No, nope, you're zoomed in too much.
I'm trying.
All sports for baseball. Do I owe you anything?
No, you do not. Yeah, I would just leave it like that. I think the only way we would be able to change it is if that you actually move back. Yeah. So let's move back and see what it looks like.
Hey, do you have a white hat? An extra white hat?
An extra white hat?
Yeah. You're gonna need one for crew number whatever 4 there. It's so touchy though. I know it's so touchy. That's why.
No, you're good.
Okay, so here's what it looks like. I'm gonna get it. Hold on, see what it does.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Might be easier just to do it this way.
My heart.
I'm gonna loosen that to move that. I don't know if we've accomplished anything.
I don't think so either.
Turn it. How you want it.
That might be. That's probably gonna be the best. Yeah, that's probably gonna be the best we got. That's right. Like, What's that? Well, and I know we're live. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's recording now. Yeah. So as much credit as I give people about looking professional in the part and everything like that, I promise you this will be cut.
Let's get this cleaned up.
Trim and slim like Chris Janda's here.
Growing.
By August 17th. August 17th. What time is it? All right, we got a couple minutes. If this is the first meeting you're attending, whether it's in person or at home, this is the registration for QR code. Everybody, I know this young man has not filled it out. Is everybody else in Arbiter here? I knew I forgot Jeff this morning. I apologize. I got you in there. It's all good. This afternoon. Because that's going to be very important with future meetings, getting assigned games, and future education. So if you are not in arbitersports.com right now, definitely reach out to me individually, because I thought I went through the whole Google form, the latest. And I know I missed one and I added them today. So if you're not in there, please contact me. Another thing, a little public relations, we will be doing our golf scramble like we have in the past. It'll be Sunday, October 1st. We're still trying to find a golf course. So once I get the golf course figured out, I'll get this golf scramble stuff out. And it'll be as late in the afternoon as we possibly can, while not fighting the sun. That way, if people want to work baseball, they could work baseball in the morning. And football. They want to work football in the morning. So they're still juggling that. I'm trying to think if there's any other announcements. I don't think so. Oh, I guess, anyone else do volleyball in here? Are you registered with the state?
No.
Okay. JD, I sent you the stuff. I looked at, are you registered with NSAA? NSAAhome.org. That's how you register. Which that sort of takes me into there. All right, so this is our agenda today. All right, so registration form, again, the QR code. Today is the last day, July 31st, if you are a returning varsity football official, returning varsity volleyball official, returning varsity softball official, without paying an additional fee to get registered. If you're brand new, you have till August 18th, but don't wait, because August 18th is also the video and test deadline. So you would have to register, take the test, watch the video all in one day, and God forbid if somebody's internet goes out or the NSA servers get overwhelmed. All right, so don't wait. But that all three sports, volleyball, softball, football, NSAAhome.org. Future meetings. So Wednesday will be right here in the same room at Westside. YouTube. We're going to go over passing plays. So I'm going to process how we set it up today. At the end, get feedback from you guys and either make it exactly the same, or if we need to change it up so it's more effective, it's more effective. Tom Hendricks will be teaching dead ball situations next Monday here at Westside. Next Wednesday, I'll be here for special teams. And then Wednesday, August 23rd, that site is confirmed, 6 o'clock to 9:30 on DJ's Dugout. And that's for all varsity football officials. Not just referees like I used to do in the past, but all varsity football officials. So I know it's a week after week 0 if you're working a week 0 game, but it's after the scrimmages. So hopefully share some experiences from the scrimmages and that week 0 game. And I just want to make sure everything is set there on August 23rd. If you are looking to work varsity, you're not on a full-time crew, you are invited to that. And then obviously if you are a sub on a varsity crew, you're invited to that. So hopefully it's a good night just to relax, enjoy stories from week 0 and preseason, and make sure everybody's on the same page there. All right, so this year for the education, I sort of switched it up a bit. So I believe there's 21 clips. So my goal as best as I can to go from this PowerPoint, have the discussion, and then pull up the video to then show the video connected to the discussion. So that's the ultimate goal. In the years past, we focused really on foul, 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 foul. And it's like, shoot, in the game, on average, we call 7 to 10 fouls. So why are we spending so much time on just what is a foul instead of the big picture? All right, so that's the idea. We're going to take a look at big picture, and today, just run plays. All right, so clip number 1, we're going to focus on pre-snap responsibilities. All right, who's in charge of the play clock? Who's in charge of counting 11 offense, 11 defense? And then while we're here, what is it to be considered off the field going from 11 to 12? Or sorry, 12 to 11. I finally thought of a rule reference of the new rule of inbounds player, out of bounds player. Yep, so we're not talking about illegal participation. So 12 on the field. What happens if there's 12 on the field? What do? We kill it. All right, we kill it. All right, so when will we have, what's the line of demarcation where we're not going to have 12 on the field? We'll actually have 11.
It's a moving target. My sideline, and there's genuine effort to get off. He's got 1 foot over the line, and he's busting his ass to get off the field.
All right, and that's the black and white rule. One body part out of bounds is an out of bounds player.
We're talking offense and defense.
We're talking offense and defense, okay? Usually it's the defense hustling off, because usually the offense will wait, hopefully, till they have 11. But it's that defender running off. So that one body part down, all right, is going to be now out of bounds player off the field. All right? Usually if there's 12 in formation, they're lined up, we kill it, right? But we don't want them playing with 12 players. We don't want that illegal we don't want the illegal participation. We want the illegal substitution. Okay. Getting players lined up legally. All right, so wing officials, we're going to give some tips on this. All right, then pre-snap keys. So many times we have all these diagrams in that mechanics manual. Back judge has this wide receiver. Line judge has this wide receiver. Headline judge has this wide receiver. Umpire, referees have that. But all those diagrams is after the snap. All right, so we're going to focus on pre-snap keys. Who's responsible for those players creating dead ball fouls? And hopefully everyone knows who they're responsible for. And then we'll talk about tackle, man, zone, ball. All right, so remember, these are all run plays. All today's run plays. All right, so now let's see if I could do this efficiently. And I'm on clip number 1. All right, so we have the referee holding out his arm like this. Who's he counting? Offense. All right, the umpire is holding out his arm. Who's he counting? Offense. Who's counting the defense? All right, back judge. And I'm not, when we get to the wide angle, because we will see the wide angle, we'll see if the back judge is holding up 11. Who should that back judge be confirming with?
Line judge who's.
All right, the defensive sideline. Why the defensive sideline? All right, communicate with the coach. We already got 2 counting the other team. All right, we don't need 3 counting one team, 2 counting the other team. All right, so then as a back judge, if I'm this sideline, I'm using this hand. If I'm this sideline, I'm using this hand so we could see it. All right, so that will change. And then the other reason why you want to count your sideline when you're on defense, you see in and out. All right, so it's very difficult every single snap to count 11 when you're straight across. Very difficult. But if I know I had 11 on first down, 100%, and I see one defender come on the field, what am I expecting? one defense getting off. Okay, once that one defender gets off, I'm going to communicate with that back judge. All right, a lot of crews rely on that back judge without a reconfirmation. All right, so counting 11, that's who's counting the offense and the defense. Are we? Yep, there it is. All right, so this receiver right here is looking over towards the official. Why is that receiver looking over towards the official? All right, do we care if they're good or not? No. All right, how many times did receiver? Am I good? I don't know. All right. So this is the line of, say this is the line of scrimmage. I always start straddling the line of scrimmage. When my receiver comes out, I use my backfield foot. I'm the line, I'm the line. All right. Why do you think I want to use my backfield foot? All right. So when they lean forward, their helmet is still behind the ball. All right. Because we'll get into it later on. There's nothing worse than a defense coordinator being right over your shoulder. His face mask is past the ball. All right. Let's prevent that. All right. So I'm the line. All right. I got you on. I got you off. That's the only thing we're telling receivers. I got you on. I got you off. It's up to them to decide if that's good or not. They need to know if they're on or off. Is that, I know there's a lot of new officials in here. Does that make sense? I got you on, I got you off, and the importance of that. And there is no dumb question in here.
If they get there early, I'll tell them, hey, I got your over. If they get there early, get on or off. Off, they'll see me like that.
Yep.
You know, they're clearly over, I'll say, hey, I got you.
All right, and what you're saying by over is mean they're encroached. Okay? And that's very important. We are telling them what they are. We're not telling them what to do. Because let's say they're off, and now in our head there's 5 in the backfield. If we tell them move up, move up, move up, number one, we could cause a false start. Number two, that receiver might be the one that's supposed to be off. It's the receiver on the other side that is supposed to be on. So again, just tell them what they are. Do not tell them what to do. Prevent fouls. We can't prevent mistakes, but we could prevent fouls.
Trips to one side. Now you've got the inside receiver. They're a good skill that, so you're not messing up outside receiver.
Perfect question, perfect clip. So we got trips on the top side. In this formation, we have a running back, we have a quarterback, this wide receiver on, this wide receiver off, outside wide receiver off, this one on. All right, so if they're looking at me, all right, since I have the widest wide receiver off, I'm punching with 1/5 fist. So this is saying the outside receiver is off. And then the second receiver, if they're looking at me, I'll say number 88, I got you on. Because this is signaling to the first one, I got you off. Number 88, I got you on. So that's how I would do it. If you have trips with 2 receivers off, now you're holding up 2 fingers. Make it nice and big. Yep, I got both outside receivers off. Because guess who that's really for? Back judge. All right? It's for the back judge. Should be for the back judge. And then, obviously, if somebody complains about your call, you are giving your judgment on film. All right, so that's lining up the receivers. All right, so as we go, get towards the snap. All right, now we're going pre-snap responsibilities. Referee, who are you going to throw a foul on for? Perfect. So you got the referee has these 2 players right there. That's the referee's job. Simulating the start of snap, and the snap's not gone. Back judge, what's your pre-snap responsibility? Delay game. That's it. All you got is the play clock. You're not going to have any false start. You're not going to have any encroachment. All you have is delay game. So really, you have no dead ball fouls except the delay game. Umpire, who are you responsible for? Guard, center guard. All right. So the false start, guard, center guard, illegal snap. So you got to be watching the ball. All right. So that's the big tip for umpires. You know, they always say, do I change A gap, B gap? Yes. But you always have to see the football. Because can the H and L help? Yes. But we want the umpire getting that football. Okay. And then the line of scrimmage. Who do you have? Let's start with the H, and H is on the box. So who does the H have? All right, tackle and receivers. Who else do you have? That's not it. All right, how about defense? All right, you have the defense. And then the L will have tackle, receiver on that side, and then the defense on their side. So we talk about going fishing in your pond, right? More of a basketball term, but for football purposes. If this left tackle false starts, who's responsible for it? L. What if the L misses it? Now who's responsible for it? All right. Umpire, you could throw. Referee, you could throw. You're looking right through the running back. All right. H, probably be the last one. But do not miss that big fish. All right. So if it's a small fish, don't go fishing somebody else's pond because there might be a reason they let it go. But if it's a big fish, go get it. All right. So, Troy, you were at the summit. Remember the story the guest clinician talked about the referee? He says, why didn't you get that false start? I don't know, I should have. All right, so no, you can. All right, we only want our pre-snap responsibilities, but if there's a big fish out there that we miss as an officiating crew, go get it. What we want to avoid is 3 flags going at the same time. All right, 1 flag is the ideal. All right, before I play it, any questions? Pre-snap, responsibilities with play clock, which is back judge, counting offenses and defenses, lining up receivers, and then knowing your pre-snap keys of who you would throw a flag on for a dead ball foul. All right, all that talk. Yeah, this is pretty deceiving. Obviously, we're going to see the far sideline quite a bit. I don't see, well, we'll keep going on the video, but sideline will come up some other time here. Oh, is it? Yeah. As long as people promise not to sleep. Is there enough light? Ooh. All right, here we go. All that talk, right? Here we go. That's majority of football plays, guys. All right, so we just talked for 13 minutes on what we do before every single snap. And this is how majority plays end. Run up the middle, boom, and move forward. So here's the wide angle view. All right, perfect. That's what we were looking for. All right, so here's the umpire and referee counting 11. I still haven't seen the back judge count 11. All right, and this is the first offensive play of the game. All right, first offensive play of the game. All right. Pause. All right, now we're going to go back to motion. See if I could do this pretty easily. Did not mean to do that. All right, motion. One offensive player can be in motion at the time of the snap. All players must come set for 1 full second prior to going in motion. Motion must be backwards or parallel to the line of scrimmage. And motion must be a backfield player. All right, so think about this. if you have an uncovered tight end, okay, so they're not restricted, uncovered tight end, and they get up and they go like this. Is this a motion? It is not a motion. Now, because this, I'm on the line of scrimmage, right? So am I a lineman or am I a backfield player? Lineman. All right, so if I just go from here to here, this is a shift. All right, I cannot be in motion as a lineman player. All right, now, if I do want to go in motion as a tight end, I could go here, 1,000. Now I could go in motion. All right, so we do see that sometimes in high school football now with them playing with the tight ends more. And we'll talk about tight ends a little bit more with legal formation. But there's a distinct difference between backfield, motion, uncovered tight end, shifting. Okay, they can shift, but a tight end from the line of scrimmage cannot go in motion. Okay, so that I know I didn't find a play on that, but I know more teams are doing stuff with the tight end. Let's see, did that? Nope, that didn't work. All right. So now let's see this beautiful motion. All right, so that's what the motion looks like. Now, let's go back to pre-snap keys. If this guy in motion, right now, were to false start, as in not know the snap count and make a hard jerk towards the line of scrimmage, whose responsibility is he? Which wing? Not yet. Yep. So right now, this is the L's pre-snap key. L's pre-snap key. And I will, this is a crew to crew thing. This is when I'm giving them up. Clearly beyond the snapper. All right. So I go outside the tackle. But make sure you confirm that as an H&L. Guy in motion, right? When are you giving up that responsibility? Because here's going to be the play. The defense is in a zone right now, is how I read it. As this person's going in motion, if there's a defensive end and they start going towards the line of scrimmage to hit that defensive end, is that legal? That's not legal. All right. So you got to put yourself in position. Which official is going to be the best one to see the motion from the beginning to the end? So that's why I try to stay with my motion man, even though they're on the other side of the snapper. If they're going to cheat, they're going to hit the defensive end. So they haven't crossed the tackle yet. So that's why I try to stay with them a little bit longer, even though they cross the snapper. Any questions on the pre-snap transition? Because the transition is a little bit different in pass plays. We're just talking about pre-snap. Go ahead.
You talk about him making a hard turn. His turn is rounded or anything. How big do you make that?
Art and science of officiating, right? If they're turning towards the line of scrimmage to run the route, I'm not going to touch it. Unless it's false start. But I won't call it an illegal motion. If their route is to make it easier to block the defensive end, that's why they're shaving, I'm going to call it a foul for illegal motion because now they're gaining an advantage to make their block. If they're just running a route and they're not press coveraged, unless it's false start, I'm not going to call illegal motion. And what's the difference between false start and legal motion? All right, which one's dead ball? False start. And then the live ball is motion. The motion is a free play for the defense. All right, so now that we talked that, let's see how this play finishes up. All right, so mechanically here, Originally, what type of play did it start out as? Pass. All right. How do we know it's a pass right now? All right. Tackles are backing up. All right. That's what we're talking about. Pre-snap key, tackle, man key. So now we're not going to talk about man keys on pass plays here. But mentally, I'm telling myself, all right, pass. So umpires should be coming up a little bit. Boom, coming up. All right. Line of scrimmage is starting to come downfield. Awesome. Everybody's reading pass. Now it's a run play. All right. So now if I'm the H, I get this asked all the time. Would you agree he's in no man's land? All right. When you're in no man's land, as in you're right in between, should I go backwards or should I go forwards? I will tell you one thing. You have to go somewhere. Because if you stay there and they keep on cutting the sideline, you're in danger of getting hit and hurt. All right. So when you're in no man's land, you feel that gut feeling like, oh my goodness, they're coming at me. All right. If I have a preference, I get behind. And the reason I get behind is because what way is the ball carrier trying to do it go? Go forward. So it's going to be a lot easier for me to gain ground as they're going forward, me going behind. I have a better shot of getting myself to safety. All right. But definitely pick one or the other. Now, as that line of scrimmage is moving, all right, so now we're going to just pretend like this line of scrimmage is moving backwards. What is that telling the L now, his cross-field official? Cross-field mechanics. Who here does not know what we mean by cross-field mechanics? All right, so cross-field mechanics is as one official gets away from the ball, the other official wants to stay even with the ball. All right, because this L down here, is he of any danger of the ball carrier running into them? So that's why they could stay even with the ball. Okay, and that L is going to stay even with the ball carrier, and if that ball carrier is tackled inbounds, guess whose spot it is? It's the L spot, all the way across the field. All right, and we're going to sort of see how he takes this spot here in a second. Boom. Plays over. All right, so he does a 50-50 job here. So he does a really good job of coming on the field and showing the spot. All right? But H's and L's, you want to stay on the sideline, behind or even with the football, especially on run plays. Because if think about a run play, I'm not sure if you noticed, where the line to gain is it the 30? Yeah, 30. All right, see the body language that L gave? He was at the 29, now he's coming back. All right, so this is an easier play, but there's going to be tougher plays where one official has it 1 yard short, one official's 1 yard beyond the line of scrimmage, and they do that whole match-up thing. All right, where as an H and L, you really want to learn each other's body language, and it's very clear of who is making the spot. So in this one, if I was the H, I would have got behind, the play would have been over, I would have looked across field, I would have matched up with my L, and I would have came in where my L came in. So there's never a doubt where that forward progress spot was. Now, if I was the L, all right, I read pass, oh shoot, it's a run, even with the football, boom, down, I'm running in. Because I want everybody to know I have the spot. I have the spot. On this one, I would come in past the numbers just to bring more attention to myself. I'm probably yelling at the umpire, my spot, my spot, my spot. I have, as crazy as it sounds, I have seen and I have done 30-yard lines line of gain, and it's my spot 2 feet away from the sideline, and I went all the way to that sideline spot of the football. Because that when we get into hard spot, soft spot. Right? Because I had the look. Now all that is going on, right? Now, what if the ball carrier decides to run out of bounds? Now, whose spot is it? That sideline official. You got to take that spot. All right, so crossfield mechanic is awesome, but it has to be tackled inbounds. Advanced mechanic, not all fields have hash marks, but if they do have hash marks, I'm going to give that to the sideline official too, because they could see the ball compared to the hash mark on the sideline. Again, when you're working small town, 4-foot crown, all of this training we're doing, sometimes you got to use the best instincts you have. Yes?
What's the rationale for having the line judge make that spot all the way across the field as opposed to right there?
The head linesman's behind it, and believe it or not, what you think you see from behind, you don't know what body part was down and exactly where that football was when that body part came down first. Whereas when you're looking across the field, you know if it was the hip, you know if it was the elbow, you know if it was a knee, and you have a better look at where that football is in front. Think about baseball. You got a foul ball in foul territory between home plate and first base. Your base umpire, if the pitcher catches it facing you, whose call is it? So you're the base umpire. First baseman catches it facing you. Whose call is it? What if the pitcher's back is to you? Catches it. Whose call is it? So that's the philosophy. Who has the best look at the body part and football down? And we have known that it's the official who's even with the football who could see the body part and football at the same time. And if I'm behind the play for safety, I'm not going to have the best look at that. My crossfield mechanic is going to give me that. There's the motion, legal play. Now we got run, we got to adjust. Cool. All right, blade of grass philosophy. So we're talking about formations here. All right, talked about lining up the receivers using our backfield foot. We're given outside receivers blade of grass. We'll talk about tackles later. We're talking about the receivers outside. We're giving them a blade of grass. And what we mean by blade of grass, receiver number 1 who's on is right here. Receiver number 2 is right there. Like we could tell, it might only be 6 inches, but we could tell on the outside receivers who's in the backfield, who's on the line of scrimmage. Because you don't want to nitpick those. Because as long as the defense is not confused, they have 2 defensive backs out there covering those 2 wide receivers. The defense is thinking, what about those 2 receivers? Both are eligible. So make them both eligible. And then after the play, go up to whoever was that blade of grass who wasn't enough in the backfield for your comfort. Just let them know, could you give me a little bit more space between your receiver? And even if the opposing coach hears that conversation, you'll hear me say this a lot today too. Coach, I'm going to do the same thing for your receivers. I'm going to communicate with your receivers too. Okay, so that's what we mean by the blade of grass on the receivers. We're not talking about the tight end. On the receivers on the outside. Now let's end slideshow. Talk about the blade of grass here. So everyone see these 2 receivers here. Inside receiver is on. Outside receiver, all right, is off. All right, and then we got boom. All right, so this isn't even really the blade of grass, quote unquote, theory, because we got 1, 2, 3, 4 in the backfield. All right. If it's that decision of 4 or 5 in the backfield, and these 2 bottom receivers are this close, give them the benefit of the doubt. Count that last receiver back and off. Okay, so prevent that 5 in the backfield with those receivers. All right, so nice little run play. All right, so now this is sort of right in the middle. Talk about line of scrimmage. Do I stay even with this or do I not stay even with this? So right now I'm staying even with this because I still think he's running north to south. He's more north to south than east to west. If he would have turned his body more towards that sideline, east to west runner, I'm getting behind. If he's running north to south, I'm going to try to stay even with that football, north to south. Now, another thing, this crew does a phenomenal job. They're both using the downfield hand. Okay? But anyone know the difference between this and this? Perfect. All right, so if there's an NSA state observer there and you do this every down, they'll probably write a little notation. Hey, in high school, it's second down, it's third down, it's fourth down. Because any signal we give, whether it's this or second down, third down, fourth down, that starts the play clock. So it's downfield hand with the next down up.
If you're the winger and the ball is very close to the line of game, what would you come up with?
If I'm the winger, we're going to talk about a little bit about spotting later on, but if I know it's a first down, I'm coming in nice and slow and going like this for my referee. If I don't know if it's a first down, but I know it's close, I'm sprinting in and I'll be like, Jason, we're close. Jason, we're close. We're keeping that clock running, all right? And I'm not signaling this quite yet because I don't know if it's going to be second down or a first down. I'm going to count on that pretty white hat to come up and steal the show from me. All right, so referees, you're coming up, and then you decide if you want to shut it down for measurement or not.
Without clock purposes.
If the
Would you want the wings to shut it down?
Yeah, so if we're under 2 minutes, one possession ball game, close to a first down or not, I would shut it down. Okay, but when you shut it down, make sure you got to shut it down quick, and then you got to decide, are you going to pump it to 40 or pump it to 25? All right. Where's this one? Oh, there it is. Okay. Forward progress. Actually, we're going to take a look. Well, I'm going to go to the PowerPoint first.
Go back. I'm hurt.
Mm-hmm. If we shut it down really quick, I'm probably going to pump it to 40. If we just shut it down slow, I'm going to go 25. Because you don't want to give any team that 15-second advantage. Yeah, that's a feel for the game. All right, so I got this idea. Again, Summit. I'm trying to bring a lot of the topics that were talked in the Summit. So Chris Van Meter talked about arts and science. And it's one thing to talk about forward progress spot. Hey, wherever the football is, when the progress of the runner ends, that's where you place the football. But not every situation is the same. Okay, a play at the 43-yard line is different than a play at the 1-yard line. A play with 8 minutes to go in the first quarter is way different than 22 seconds ago in the regulation in a tie ball game. All right, so sort of made a chart. One ball carrier versus one tackler. So it's one-on-one. Do we have any safety concern right now? No, so I'm going to keep that ball alive. I'm going to make that one defender either tackle that ball carrier, or I'm going to have that ball carrier try to break free or gain another yard. All right, so if it's one-on-one, I'm going to let them play it out. All right, figure out who wins that match. Now, all of a sudden, that one-on-one turns in 2 or more defenders and 1 ball carrier. Now, what should I probably do? Blow the whistle. I don't want that ball carrier to be overmatched. Then here comes 3, 4, 5. Now they're on the ground, and 5 players are on that ball carrier. when I could have stopped it. 2 versus 1, 3 versus 1. But now all of a sudden, in that split second, it was 2 versus 1, but now here we go. We got 3 other defenders not pushing the runner, pushing the pile. So now we got this pile up. All right, so now once that defense clearly drives backwards, now I'm killing it. Because ultimately, again, we are trying to avoid 2 or 3 players falling on this ball carrier because it's a safety. That forward progress spot isn't going to change. Ball carrier lifted up. If you ever see the ball carrier lifted up, just make it dead by rule. Right? Now, when they're picked up and you make it dead by rule right away, do you even have to call it helping the runner? No, because forward progress is stopped by rule. Once that ball carrier's feet, just off the ground, kill it. Kill it, kill it, kill it. Hard spot situation. Don't blow down until you see the brown. So what's the brown? Football. So there's going to be situations, it's 4th and 2, and you're going to have 1 ball carrier, 3 defenders. I'm not blowing that play over until that ball carrier is down on the ground. I'm not taking away that God extraordinary effort to get that extra yard for that first down. I've seen some crazy stuff that human beings do for that 1 extra yard, that hard spot. Okay, so now I just said protect the runner, but the runners run different. If it's 1st and 10 and there's 3 people trying to tackle them, and 1st and goal at the 1 yard line when 5 people are trying to tackle them. It's just a different technique. So you have to understand that. So I'm a lot slower on the hard spots because they're running different. And then the other thing with forward progress, when in doubt, it is not a fumble. So that means that runner is down at that spot before you saw that ball loose. No cheap turnovers. Completely opposite, by the way, what you see on TV. All right, because what do they have on TV? They have replay. And they're not even downgraded, by the way, on a reversal of a no fumble and a fumble. All right, because they're just trained a whole different way. All right, so when in doubt with Federation football, it is not a fumble. And then when in doubt, runner did not score or gain a first down. We need to know that. All right, so you guys see the give and take here a little bit, right? So no cheap turnovers, advantage offense, but no cheap scores and first downs, advantage defense. And so some philosophies there with the forward progress. All right, now let's take a look at this play in regards to forward progress. All right, so now that runner's still running, right? So we went with this philosophy of we got 2nd down and 5. Runner runs into a pile. Is he down? Is he not down? Is the defense driving him back? Is the offense driving forward? Who knows? And I put this in this one because I think we have a better look at the end zone here. All right, so now do you see the 3 defenders around the ball carrier? And the 1 blocker that ball carrier had is down on the ground? All right, so that shows that philosophy. We got 3 versus 1. We don't want a huge pile on effect here. All right, but we're going to change it now if it's 3rd and 1. Now we're going to make that defense get that ball carrier down. All right, so I think this was a good judgment of calling this play forward progress over. Because we had 3-on-1 on that ball carrier on a 2nd and 5 play. All right, so line of scrimmage officials, You have to be aware of that. All right, so one of my goals is to keep ball carrier safe. I want to keep it live as much as I possibly can too, but I don't want them having 5-on-1 on that ball carrier going to the ground, because that usually leads to other bad stuff later in the game. All right, encroachment. Another rule difference when it comes to high school. All right, so encroachment is dead ball. So this is encroachment. There is no offside on the defense in high school. If the offense or defense line up in the neutral zone, we have encroachment. So I put it here, prevent. Defense or offense lines up beyond the neutral zone. So their original alignment, prevent, prevent, prevent. And I will tell you, like Nate Newhouse is a huge proponent of this prevention on legal formations. And again, if the coach hears you not telling them, let them know what they are to prevent a foul. Coach, I'm going to do the same thing for your players. This game doesn't need 20 fouls. All right, so defense enters the neutral zone. We have to have a foul. So if they enter. So I put this picture up here. Is that helmet touching the football? Does it look like it's touching the football? What do you think that snapper did? Moved it up. Because umpires in the room, I hope everybody here knows, we put the tip of the football on the front of the line. Okay, because we actually want 3 inches between the point of the football and where that defense sees the line. So that's how wide that line is, 3 inches. And inevitably, always, that snapper will pick up that football and move it 6 inches forward. Knowing that, I'm giving the defense helmet some room for error. I'm giving that. And again, coach, I'm giving your defensive line the same courtesy. That's original alignment. Now, that football helmet that's even with the ball, that's what we would call considered tight, right? Any forward movement now on a hard count puts them in the neutral zone. Automatic dead ball. Throw the flag high into the air, if you're good enough, on the defensive side of the field. Because believe it or not, that sends the referee a signal. When the flag gets thrown up in the air on the defensive side of the field, guess what that referee is already processing? Fouls on the defense. What's really cool is after you march off 5 yards, guess where your flag is? Right where it is, so you don't have to go back and forth. All right, so that's encroachment in high school. If they enter the neutral zone, it is dead ball foul. Dead ball foul. Throw that flag high and run in. And then on the wide angle, we'll see the delay of game. So mechanics. Even if you have a 40-second, 25-second play clock, Federation still wants you, when 10 seconds are remaining, back judge, raise your hand. 5 seconds left. Chop it down with that play clock. I know I'm recording, so I'll say it anyways. All right, so when that is going 5 to 4, when it goes to 4, that's actually 5, 4. All right, I want it to be clearly under 0, which we're going to sort of take a look at here. Clearly under 0 before we throw that flag. Because once it reaches 0, I'm looking at the football. If the football's moving, I'm not throwing my flag for delay game. I'm not going to split hairs on delay game. Because I don't know how good that play clock operator is. Does that make sense? Okay, question, JD.
You're talking about nose tackle.
If he's lined up like this,
No, if he is lined up off.
yep.
Offside, are you hollering in?
Yeah, I'm going to 77, whatever. If I have their number, I'm going to be yelling back up. Yep.
Touchdown Foreman and crew with delay. Referees count. Want the umpire to hear that, so the offense.
Yeah, you can. Definitely, if your umpire is aware of it, definitely do that. I use my voice in sub-varsity. So I'll go I'll always go 10 seconds when my back judge raises their hand. I'll always go 5 seconds when my back judge starts chopping. That's what I do in varsity. I do not count 4, 3, 2, 1. In sub-varsity, I do count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, they might not hear 0 for a couple seconds, but I do use my voice countdown in sub-varsity. And coaches out there, I'm not going to call delay a game until I start hearing the defense yell, how much time are you going to give them? In sub-varsity. Sub-varsity. All right, now let's go in slideshow. All right, so encroachment. Any red flags right now that we should be thinking as a crew of we might have potential delay a game, we might have potential timeout, we might have potential false start / encroachment. All right, a lot of people on the line of scrimmage, a lot of people tight to the line of scrimmage. What's the distance to go?
3.
All right, 3rd down, under 5 yards. The line of scrimmage, I'm going to be communicating to my referee, under 5. So if we're going this way and we're under 5 yards, I'm giving this signal. If it's over 5, I'm doing this. 020, I'll use my 020. Under 5 yards, Jason. Over 5 yards, Jason. Because this should pick up our radars. All right, I got to be focused on a lot of stuff, but probably this stuff right now. I don't have to worry about the Hail Mary. All right. All right, so we have the defense. Would you consider this tight right now? Yeah. I mean, this player is standing up. This player's 2-point stance. Really, the only one tight is this middle player. All right, so I'm not even thinking tight like philosophy here. I just don't think the defense is playing tight. Then we're going to have a hard count. Boom. Now we have forward movement. Since they're not tight, that's not forward movement that puts them into the neutral zone. Do you think it'd be different if it was 4th and 1? Yeah, now the linebackers would probably be up in the A gaps, and all defenders would probably be in 3 or 4 point stance. All right, so referees, what else do you have to be prepared for here and thinking? Who are you responsible for?
Quarterback.
The quarterback. What specific body part of the quarterback are you looking at? Head. Take a look at this quarterback's head. Is that enough? All right. That's why your crew has to be on the same page. I agree. That's not enough head bob. That's not enough forward movement to get a encroachment. Okay. Make it big. Don't be the I got you. All right. Does he move his head? Yeah. Just enough to get a little movement of the defense. Defense isn't super tight. That little movement doesn't put him in the neutral zone. All right, so now what are we thinking here? Back judges. What do you think's going on in your head right now? All right, play clock. All right, play clock status. So now I'm going to move it forward here. All right, so right now, what should the back judge be doing? Boom, hand up, 10 seconds left. All right, so now they snap the ball, so I'm not going to be able to, but the back judge does not ever do this. It is very, very important. Yes, this stadium is awesome, all right, but these players don't have a play clock every practice. These players, there are some fields that don't have this play clock. So they are trained to watch the back judge. All right, so even though there's play clocks there, still give them that signal. Still give them that signal. We have a run play up the middle. Boom, tackle. We're going to skip this because of time, and it's not a very good video of double action. All right. There's 3 clips on here. This is one of them. I'm not looking for judgment here because I promise you half the room's going to say yes, half the room's going to say no. We're not going to get in that argument right now. But I do want us to know the rule. So when you have to make the judgment, you have the information to communicate to the coach. Okay? So let's go to what the rule is for blindside block. I remember when I was talking about no matter how much you know the rules, when you read the rules and teach it, you learn something. This is my aha moment today. Outside the free blocking zone. I'm like, I knew interior linemen could block in the back and everything when the ball's in the free blocking zone, but even blindside blocks, right? Blocks where the opponent doesn't see it coming. If it's in the free blocking zone, it's legal. All right, so keep that in mind. Outside the free blocking zone with forceful contact unless initiated with open hands. All right, so this one's easy. It's a shoulder to an opponent. He's not leading with the hands. Everyone's seen a blindside block, right? All right, it is illegal to go forceful contact with an opponent in high school and that opponent does not see the block coming. Totally different threshold with what you see on TV. All right, it's either open hands, it's the flyby, otherwise you put officials in a judgment situation. You guys ready to see the judgment here? Okay. I will preface this. I love the foul threshold of this crew. I did watch the whole game. I love the threshold of the crew. All right. Is 44. Oh, no. Sorry, guys. I'm glad you guys. Thank you, Zach. And slideshow. Now we're going to go here. All right, so mental note here. Where's the free blocking zone end? Tackle. Depending on the splits, you might be able to sneak a tight end in there, but outside the tackle. All right, so it's number 44 outside the tackle. Or, yep, so forget about that. We're outside the free blocking zone. Does the player that he's about to block see the blocker? Okay, so we definitely have a blindside block. All right. Now the question is, your judgment, is this open hand? Is this not open hand? Is it forceful? Is it not forceful? Okay, so we're not going to get into is this legal or illegal right now in the weeds. But if you deem this open hand, it's definitely not a foul. If you deem this not open hand, now you got to do forceful versus unforceable. All right. The call on the field was a no foul. So here's the end zone look. Now looking at it from that angle, did it look as bad as the other angle? All right. So we talk about angles and seeing plays. All right. Trust whose key that was. All right. Trust whose key that was. And talk about it. But whether you call it a foul on your crew or don't call it a foul on your crew, you got to have the words, coach, in my judgment, it was an open hand and it was forceful. Coach, in my judgment, he opened his hands and shoved him. Yeah, he shoved him hard, but he shoved him hard with open hands. Okay, so that blindside block. All right, clipping. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Again, we don't have a lot of clipping fouls. So blocking an opponent from behind at or below the waist and not against an opponent who is a runner or pretending to be a runner. Defense cannot make this a foul. That's the most important part of this segment. Take a look at where the defensive end starts. Defensive end is on the outside, correct? See how he came into the inside right away? And then you're going to see the offensive player go low right away, right? The offense, like this isn't even nowhere near clipping, by the way. Again, we don't see it. But the main thing is if that defense turns after that initial blocker went low, we can't put a foul on the offense for clipping. Okay, because I have seen where defenders, they turn like this, so they make it a foul when the offense already committed. So you hardly see clipping in high school football. But that was a big note here. If that offense commits and then the defense turns, defense cannot make it a foul. Hopefully nobody has clipping all year long. All right, we're going to skip 10. We talked about that. All right, shift. Sort of talked about the runner, the tight end. We're going to be talking about the quarterback here on this play. One or more players switch position. They must come set for 1 complete second. That should be singular, not plural. So the question is, does every play have a shift? Whether they go huddle or no huddle, what do they all have to do? They have to come set. So every play does have a shift. All right, so the question is there going to be another shift? All right. So, and then when we're here with helping the runner, cannot push or pull the ball carrier, look for pushing inside the body frame. They can push the pile, but not the runner. Nope, this is the one we skipped. Perfect. All right, so going back here. All right, so you see the 2 players moving right now? What 2 players are moving? Quarterback and running back. So now both those players had to come stop for 1 complete second. Did they come set for 1 complete second? I would agree. Okay. All right, so I'm going to stop it here because now what can the running back not do? He cannot go directly into that quarterback's numbers and push him forward. So he does a really good job here, by the way, and does not do that and gets to the outside. So here's the end zone angle, kind of far away. But when they sneak up, again, make sure it's 1 complete second. And then, swoosh, as a referee, I'm thinking, thank God getting on the outside. All right, because that you will see some running backs, they just go drive that ball carrier right between the shoulder blades. If they do that, that's the foul they want called in Federation football. Small thing. Oh, actually, this is actually a big thing. But we don't have to go to the PowerPoint on this one. Watch players not ball on long runs. Okay? Don't be a ball watcher. Right now, we're watching the ball. Whoop. Or were we watching the ball? How many people knew the quarterback still had the ball there? Steve, John, you guys are way better than me. All right, so right now, I'm going to actually go to the arrows. This is a great job if you take a look at the officials' bills of their caps of where they're looking. So the umpire is staying engaged in this block. The referee is staying engaged in all these linemen. You have the H looking through the field. And then I truly believe this L is not looking at the ball carrier. He's looking at this blocker initiate the block against the defense. So nobody's watching the ball right now, which is great. Is the ball going to foul? So there's no reason to look there. So this is great officiating away from the ball. All right, so we're killing the clock for what reason? First down, out of bounds. I wanted to stop it there because the wide angle doesn't do a good job. Beanbag, perfect. Now, H&L, you have a beanbag. When you're chasing that player out of bounds, which is way more important than the spot. It's way more important than the spot. Drop your beanbag at that spot. Because when stuff starts blowing up on you, you're going to come back and you'll be like, oh, shoot, where was the spot? All right. Another trick I'll do as a line of scrimmage, I will not say either the 20-yard line or 19-yard line. I'm not that good. All right. What is it, the big line or is it the little line? All right. But I could still be 2 yards off. If I tell myself little line, I could be at the 21. And it's definitely not the 21. All right. So don't be afraid to use your beanbag in this instance. Nobody's going to think you have a fumble. All right. Everyone knows you're using your beanbag to mark the spot and you're going to go dead ball officiate. The L does a great job here going to dead ball officiate. All right, another thing, we don't think it's a big deal until something bad happens. Talk about sideline. See this camera person? Are they legal? How about this camera person? Were they legal? All right, I don't think they were. I think they were backing up. Has anyone ran into a camera before? It's not fun. Okay, so I know John talked about it a little bit. Pre-snap responsibilities. Pre-snap responsibilities. Get everybody behind that dash dotted line. If they don't have a dash dotted line, find a line farther back. All right, because if you ran into one of those cameras, it hurts. Okay, so prevent it. And it's for their safety as well. And that equipment is expensive, so hopefully they want to protect that equipment.
Go back to
Helping, yep.
talk about where that's important.
So we have, well, where's the previous spot? Yep. So unless the runner's already in front of the previous so if they're a 2-yard gain, and then I push the runner there, now it's a spot foul. If I push the runner and that runner was behind the previous spot, now we're going to enforce it from the previous spot. So it all depends on where that runner got to. So where the foul, you ready for this, Jason? Where the foul happens, all right, is the basic spot. But it's not the enforcement spot because it's the end of the related run. But if the related run ends behind the line of scrimmage, now we go to the previous spot. That's the enforcement spot. So though it's one basic spot, the spot of the foul, we have 2 different enforcement spots based on where that basic spot is. All right, is it clear as mud, referees? All right, cool. All right. Punch backwards mechanics. Sometimes I think we use this too much, and then other times we don't use it enough. So I wanted to cover it so people know when to use it. So pre-snap, communicate outside receiver is on or off. All right, so I've seen officials, I got you on, so they're straight forward. Not in mechanics manual, but I know some officials do it. I'll only punch if it's the outside receiver. You are not punching back the inside receiver. I have seen officials do that, but that could really screw up your back judge. Only the outside receiver. Where I don't think we do it enough is during the play. What does a backwards punch mean? It's a backwards pass. Okay. The mechanic that we use on our crew is whoever side of the field the ball is coming to. So Jordan, you got that in your head? Sweet. All right. That's whose judgment it is. All right. So if it's coming to me, I'm punching it backwards. If it's going away from me, I'm not making any signal whatsoever. Federation has not adopted punching forward. All right, because they said it's real simple. If you're not punching backwards, guess what it is? It's a forward pass. So, so in high school, we're only punching backwards on a backwards pass. When in doubt, wipe it out. All right, and again, goes back to no cheap turnovers. When in doubt, wipe it out. Incomplete pass, if not caught. But now, as I say that, I'm going to give you a different situation. Okay. So here's the first punch backwards. Receiver, I got you off. Again, I am not doing it this early. Because is he a legal receiver yet? No, he's not set. All right. Now, I'm sure that receiver's built a rapport with that official by now. So this is where I'm punching it. Boom, that receiver's off. That receiver's set. I'm punching it back. All right. So as simple as this, in high school football, I am still punching this backwards. Anyone know why in high school I would say that? What's the rule in high school? Forward, backwards pass. From what time? From what time frame? When it's released and then touched. Isn't that different than another rule set we see on TV all the time? All right. Very important on windy days. All right. If it's released at the 21-yard line, 22-yard line, whatever your judgment is, but the wind blows it forward and is then touched at the 21-yard line, now what do we got? Or we got a forward pass. All right. So I'm not even punching it till right now. Now I have a touch. That's when I punch it. I have that as a backwards pass. So that's the question I'm asking. Is that the high school rule? Is it initial direction? Because I could be the one messing up with the rule here. Is high school initial direction? 100% guarantee. So this is why we always look up the rules. So be rule 7, I know that. Boom. That's where I'm going to 2 now. All right, there it is. Page 63 and 36. Ooh, there it is. A forward pass is a pass thrown with its initial direction toward the opponent's end line. All right, so the high school rule, I'm glad I did this. The high school rule is initial direction. All right, so going back now to mechanically, I am punching backwards right now. Initial direction, backwards. So whether that running back catches it or not, I am letting my crewmates know, do not blow your whistle, please, because we have a backwards pass. All right, and as I am going backwards with my punch, now he's running east to west, right? Remember line of scrimmage, when they're running east to west, get behind it. That's giving my crossfield mechanic signal to my crewmate. Now he's out of bounds. Whose spot is this? L's. Out of bounds spot has to be the L's. Okay, so that's the punch backward. Again, reiterate the rule. Initial direction in high school football. Initial direction.
Another one that you see a lot that can cause some conversation. That sweet hot pass.
Oh, we're going to get there. Yep. I have not a true play, but we're definitely going to talk about that rule. Backwards pass. Yep. Yep, because the initial direction was backwards. So I better slow down. If you could delete that in this live video, that'd be awesome. If it's a windy day, initial direction is backwards. It remains a backwards pass no matter what. Or parallel, all right? The initial direction. All right. Illegal formation. Now we're going to talk about linemen. We talked about the receivers, blade of grass. Now we're going to talk about linemen. Sometimes we forget 5 linemen have to be numbered 50 through 79. All right? We're going to do the exception scrimmage kick formation next Wednesday, August 9th, with special teams. Because yes, a coach did ask Nate, why don't we just always line up in scrimmage kick formation? We don't have to worry about any numbering rules whatsoever. It's illegal. All right, we'll talk about that August 9th. Our threshold for illegal formation is helmet within the snapper's waistline. Okay? Warn before penalizing. Let the player know. If you have a relationship with the captain, let the captain know. Definitely find the head coach. All right? Head coach needs to know. Not the offensive line coach. You don't know which one is offensive line coach. You know who the head coach is. All right, so warn when it comes to illegal formation with the linemen. And again, I cannot stress enough how much I love this officiating's crew foul threshold. All right. So what lineman are we looking at here? All right, right tackle. Kind of weird. This is clip 40. This is the first time all day long this right tackle started this far back. So now as a line of scrimmage official, I'm thinking, all right, why is he doing this? Because he's doing it for a reason. All right. So there it is, pass or pull. All right. Is illegal formation a live ball foul or a dead ball foul? Live ball foul. So now let's, all this processing we're doing in our head here. Here we go. There's the pull. Okay. Did that pull really affect the play? Maybe. All right. Not big enough for me to throw the flag. All right. Not big enough for me to throw a flag and a 5-yard penalty. But he definitely stood out on the first time in this game of lining up there. So after this play is over, I'm going to go up to that right tackle and say, hey, even when you pull, you got to get that helmet within the snapper's waistline. I'm going to go up to the head coach. Hey, coach, number 70, that's too much for him to do that all game long. Could you help us out there? Because now when you do call it and it gains an advantage, what do you think the coach is going to say? He told you not to do it. He tried to help you. Whereas if we ignore it and don't communicate and only throw it when it does gain an advantage, now what's the coach going to do with you? He's been doing it all game. All right, so communicate to that coach. Because when you do have to throw it now, he told you. All right, go ahead. Yep.
Especially if it's a right tackle and it's for opposite my sideline, just so that if I have to radio to my crewmate across, that yeah, I explained to him, referee explained 5-12, you were there, and the head coach.
Absolutely. So you guys remember what clip that was? It was 40. Look at the left tackle here for the other team now. Isn't that left tackle pushing it now? The left tackle? Again, this is not by accident. I almost guarantee it. The green team's coach saw it. Hey, if they didn't call it on them, let's see how much we could push it. Okay? So again, I don't think this is a foul. I do not think this is a foul. But I think this is big enough to communicate to the left tackle and the head coach of the green team, hey, coach, we need to get that left tackle on the snapper's waistline. All right? Because if this was a pass protect, which it wasn't, that gains a huge advantage too. Okay, so you prevent a lot of bad stuff later in the game. When you notice it early, you warn it early, and they stop playing that game. All right, so now I'm going to stop the video right there, and we're going to talk about another philosophy. Forward progress management. We're going to do the what if. This is not the end of the game. This spot isn't a first down. We don't know if the runner wants to stay in bounds and does the defense want to keep them in bounds and all that good stuff. But I want to talk about it. All right, so management, driven out of bounds, and that ball carrier is going forward. That's easy. Out of bounds, kill the clock. That one's easy. Driven out, going lateral or backwards. Chris Janda left the room. Man, he was going to have his moment. Oh. If time is not of the essence, if in your judgment you could put him laterally out of bounds or being driven backwards out of bounds, guess what you should rule on it? Inbounds and high school mechanic, inbounds. Next down up, downfield hand. We do not do this in high school football. Okay, believe it or not, there are really good clock keepers out there. I get it. I understand it. There's more, not so many good ones than good ones. So give them less signals, because they're either going to see you do this all game, they're going to stop it, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for this all game long. So if they don't see this all game, guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to stop the clock. So referees, when you talk to that clock keeper, I've been doing this for 50 years. They've been looking for this for 50 years. All right, when you give them a new signal, do they want me to stop the clock? What is this? All right, don't be confusing to them. All right, so again, time is not of the essence. Driven, backwards, lateral, keep that clock rolling, just put up the next down. When in doubt, they're inbounds. Now, time is of the essence. We're underneath 2 minutes of second quarter, fourth quarter. It is a tie ball game. You know this team's trying to conserve time. You know this team wants that clock to be running. You have to know which team did what they were supposed to do better. You have to know that. That's a judgment call. All right, so now I'm going to go back to the video. Again, put yourself in a position. See where the line of gain is? So line of gain's at 30. Okay, going to go slow motion. Is he driven out forward? Is he driven out lateral? All right. I think it's forward. All right, so there's two reasons now why we're going to stop the clock. All right, first down and out of bounds. Whereas if that defender comes in and that defense wants the clock to be running and they stuff them at the 29.5, throw them backwards out of bounds, what's the clock? We're live, and we have to communicate that. We have to communicate that. You got to be aware of that. Okay? Time is not the essence. When in doubt, keep that clock going. Clock is important. You have to know which player did what they were supposed to do for clock status, time status. All right, we talked about that. We're not going to worry. Okay, so Walter, here is clip 16. We were talking about the forward toss. We're not worrying about that. Oh. All right, so forward handoff / forward pass. All right, so it goes back to that philosophy. When in doubt, what are we going to call it? We're going to call it a pass. We're going to call it a shuffle pass, a flip pass. Very important though. What must that quarterback do with that ball before they pass it? Possess it. All right. So think about a volleyball. If they set it and changed the direction, like it went backwards and I set it, pushed it forward, I'm going to call that a pass. I'm going to call that possession. Okay. Whereas if I truly just open hand and bat it, all right, whole different rule set. All right, so when in doubt, we want to call it possession. We want to call it a forward pass. On this one, that's clearly, what did that clearly look like to you guys? It definitely got possession. Yep. All right. Passed it or handed it forward? Looked like he handed it. So I am deeming that as a handoff. Whose responsibility is this? Nope. Because who do they have after the snap? They have tackle. So guess whose call that is? Referee. Referee has the best look at that. Best look at that. All right, so H&L, if this play happens and you see the ball on the ground, guess how you have to play it? You have to play it as a fumble. That is not your judgment. Was it handed off or was it passed off? So we play it live. There's a turnover. All right, you have that gut feeling in your stomach. God, this just doesn't feel right. Who should you get with? Referee. All right, you got to get the referee involved. Hey, Sean, I'm playing this fumble, but I have no idea. Was that a forward handoff or was that a forward pass? Now the referee would be like, oh man, I thought that was your call, but it was definitely a forward pass. Sweet. Now what could we do as a crew? You know, after further consultation, we deem it a forward pass, incomplete pass, fourth down. All right. So that's like a situation in football where we could get together as a crew and really overturn the result of the play because we got that communication. All right, so it's always better to, on this play, keep it as a fumble. Let's share information. It's easier to come back incomplete pass than call it incomplete pass when it's truly a fumble. Okay, so as I always say, no cheap fumbles, right? And here I am saying on this, except on this one. All right, we have to communicate on this one. Does that answer the question there, Walter?
Yeah, but I was referring more towards like the little top pass where you talk about that. It's almost like a ball.
Mm-hmm. All right. 7:26. All right, chop block. I am going to, because if this happens in high school football, it's because of a misassignment. That's why chop blocks happen. Okay, so we have to be aware of it. Rule change last year, one high block with one low block. All right, so one engages high, one engages low. Delay or no delay, and we say that, but they still have to be within the same time frame, time window. Okay, a chip is a block. Everyone know what a chip is? Yep, I'm sticking I'm going and I am initiating a block and chipping. That is different than this, because I've seen linemen do this. When that lineman's trying to get to that second level and their hand is coming backwards, now what are they trying to do? They're trying to avoid that high block. All right, so you have to be aware of that. Umpires, this is usually you. They extend out, that's a chip block. They're keeping distance. If they're showing like, no, I don't want to touch you, or they swim them, that means they're avoiding that block because they don't want a chop block called. All right, so know the difference between that. No impact. Yep. High, low, anywhere is going to be illegal. All right, and then one's completely disengaged. And that's where this play, you'll see when I pull it up. But once they're completely engaged, now it's two completely different blocks. Okay, so when they say delay or no delay, they still have to be in the same action. But if it's completely not connected, then again, don't be looking too much, even though this is a safety foul. All right, chop block philosophy. All right, so did everyone see this lineman who went second level? Right here. I'm going to rewind it a little bit. See how he brought his arms down? All right, he's bringing his arms down just to make sure he doesn't make contact with the arms. I think the end zone angle shows it a little bit better. I hope it shows it a little better. All right, so here's the low block right on the outside. And then that guard comes through and he like sort of tucks his arms, because he tucks his arm because he doesn't even want to be considered touching that block. Go back here one more time. All right, that's the best I could find on the chop block. Not the best video, which is good. We don't want them doing it. All right, keep your eyes on the prize. So that's probably bad terminology, but dead ball officiating, Tom's going to go over. The main thing here after a run play, don't assume things are over. So here's one. We're turning around, don't know why we're turning around. There's still way too many players engaged. All right, number 2. All right, we're turning our backs with these players still engaged. Whenever the players are near each other, don't turn your back. So umpires in the room, are these players playing so fast that they want to get the next snap off right now? Don't turn your backs to them, okay? Talk to them, hold the football, keep the football on the ground, whatever the case may be. Keep your eyes on the prize. The players are the prize. Wait until everything is de-escalated. All right, now I'll place the ball down. Don't be in a hurry. Yeah. If you definitely tripped and fell, that's not going to be considered a block. But I think it's with the way the high school rule is written, if I'm going low, it's got to be immediate. So if I fall and you're calling the fall as a block, I would not deem that as a block. Yeah, so a low block means I immediately went towards my opponent. So if I come up and I get tripped and I fall, I'm not going to consider that a block. Eyes on the prize. Here's another, so this is block below the waist. This is actually a pretty good transition. Jason? All right, so block below the waist. Offensive player starts in the free blocking zone, and it's 4 yards by 3 yards. All right, so if you take a look at the offense here, this is your traditional splits. So there is some room outside that tackle. I know there was one team, they wanted their tight end in the free blocking zone. And their splits were so tight, they made sure that tight end was in the free blocking zone. Okay, normal splits, it's very difficult, but tight splits, that tight end. They wanted that tight end in the free blocking zone. That's the kind of stuff a coach should tell you before the game. But most times that tight end is out on normal splits. But if they're inside the free blocking zone, the opponent starts on the line of scrimmage in the free blocking zone, and the block has to be immediate. All right, so I'm not sure if you've seen it on these previous plays, but this is actually the fourth or fifth play that they did block below the waist. And every single time they did do it legally. So there's the player we're watching. All the linemen across are on the line of scrimmage. Boom, immediate. All right, so there was some discussion last year. Does immediate mean, do they get one step? Do they get two steps? As long as they're going forward, straight down, you know, because this is a diagonal low block, right? This isn't a straight on. So he actually has to go get him a little bit. But this is immediate because he never stands up. That's what we want to try to avoid in high school is the boom, then boom. All right, I'm going to pass block, and then I'm going to take your legs out. They got to go immediate down. So this is legal, what this player did. This would be considered immediate. Yes? The size and weight disparity in high school is still there. College, it's pretty even. The defensive end, probably 40, 50 pounds at most difference, but mass-wise, they're going to be equal. There are a lot of linemen who are about 160 dripping wet. And then all of a sudden they're going up against a defensive end that's 240 pounds. That lineman's toast if they don't have that in their arsenal. So to avoid that bull rush and getting pounded all game long as a lineman, they allow them to block low immediately to have that advantage for their safety as well. That's why there's so much restriction. It's got to be immediate. It's got to be right away. Can't be in the back. So, yeah, it's a safety thing on the flip side with the weight disparity in high school. Yeah, so it definitely can't be a puller because if you're pulling, you're standing up. Yeah, I mean, there's not the word in this rule book adjacent lineman, but that's an adjacent lineman. I'm going to let them cut below the waist. Somebody in the free blocking zone on the line of scrimmage, straight ahead or adjacent to them. Yes.
Get a reference to what you said. It came up in a pre-meeting with the coaches. One coach is like, hey, watch their linemen. The other coach can go to him.
Mm-hmm.
Question I had was one of the clips earlier, I was kind of cringed at the one used for flipping. Was that a block below the waist?
So it was. So yeah, so when that guard went off, the tackle actually did go low. It was a block below the waist. But that guard stayed off the high.
Yeah, I think it was the one where looked in.
Yep.
Coming in.
Yes.
So it's still in the zone. He was guiding.
Yep.
That should be called.
Nope, because if I remember the play right, the end was adjacent to both the guard and the tackle. And the guard released to second level, and the tackle came inside to block below the waist. So I know what you saw.
I saw the highlight.
Oh, yep, 100%.
On the other side threshold. Side. Don't know.
So it could be from the side if you're inside the free blocking zone. It just can't be from behind. So you cannot clip anywhere on the field. But you can block below the waist on the side in the free blocking zone. Because most of the time when you are blocked on the side, what's the defender doing? They're stepping through exactly like the one you cringed at. He's trying to split that B gap and get through, and that lineman is trying to go straight forward, but it's going to get him on the side of the knee. So in the side is legal in the free blocking zone. It cannot be from behind. Not. All right. We're going to finish this meeting with a huge, I'm pretty sure, nope. Yeah, with a huge bang. Okay. Holding. Okay. I can't stress this enough. This crew threshold throughout this whole game was phenomenal. And what I mean by threshold is this. To this point in this game, by the way, we've gone through pretty much the whole first half of the game. Has anyone seen one flag yet? I'm telling you, there's not a flag in this game yet. Okay. They did not have a flag yet in this game. So this crew, whether we like it or not, was consistent, and their threshold is still huge. All right. Because the first foul your crew makes in a game, no matter what type of call it is, delay a game, false start, encroachment, hold, pass interference, doesn't matter. That sets the tone for the whole entire game. And you got to match that. So each crew has their fun joke. Whoever throws the first flag has to do this. All right. Now you still got to get the big fish. It just might be yours in that game. So with that being said, holding, it's got to affect the opponent, it's got to affect the play, and it has to have proximity. Right? Proximity is the location of where that took place. Right? There could be a huge hold 5 yards once the ball carrier went past. Hey guys, knock it off. Could be a whole different situation, different time. Okay? Make them big. This is from the Summit. Big as in everybody can see it. If everybody can see it, you can't ignore it. I don't care if the score is 72-0. All right, the grandma rule. All right, make it big. When everyone sees it, you got to get it. These are the tough ones. Big as in big effect on the play or game. All right, so this game could be played completely clean. We're going to take a look at a play. All right. And the last one, if you think it is a foul, it is not. There is nothing worse than throwing a flag, getting in the locker room. Yeah, I think he just grabbed onto him, held onto him too long. Can't take that back. Can't take that back. Okay, so holding. We're going to start with this slide before we go to the next one, because I think there's 2 plays of holding. If I go back too far, don't think so. All right. So here's the question. Right now, what do you guys got? All right, grab and restrict. By who? Okay, so grab and restrict. Left guard. Who took who to the ground? Offensive lineman. All right. Would you say this is proximity? Yeah, I mean, any former quarterbacks out there? None? Dang it. Oh, imagine if you were. Is it easier to throw with 2 hands up in your face or no hands in your face? All right, no hands in your face. So now let's go to the end zone angle. All right. What really makes this I think, grab and restrict is if you take a look at the green defender's shoulder. What happens to the shoulder? Dips. All right. I don't see a defender dipping on purpose. All right. So this is where the quote unquote, all right, I have a hold. I have a grab and restrict. I have a dip. I have a hook dip. All right, now I got to wait. Does it have an impact on the player? Yeah, the player's on the ground. All right. Now I have to wait a little bit longer. Does it have an impact on the play now? Yeah, it allows the quarterback to get outside the pocket. Okay. Now scramble. All right. So whether you think this is a hold or not, anyone know right now why it's not a hold? In this official's judgment, I'm not saying that it's not a hold, but in this crew's official's judgment, why do you think they didn't throw the flag right now? Result of the play. Okay? Because I think if I pull everybody in here and we just take a look at this action, is this big enough for offensive holding? Absolutely. All right, but now we got to take a look at the big picture. The big, huge picture. Has there been a foul in the game yet? Nope, hasn't been a foul in the game yet. Has the players been playing pretty clean all game long right now? Yep. What's the down? 3rd and what? Okay, definitely over 5. Definitely over 5. What's the down now? 4th and what? Okay, definitely more. It's a tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Everyone see why they didn't throw the flag now? What's the offense going to do next play? They're going to punt. Now, and I will tell you this, it is better to have a late flag than no flag. All right, and the other onus, and I know it was said in the summit, and this is high-level officiating. Well, shoot, Sean, if I don't call offensive holding here, my back judge calls defensive holding somewhere else on the field, now we could have really messed up situation. Right? That's why you have to develop as a crew. That's why you have to have conversations of threshold. Everybody's got to be on the same page. All right? Because if we're not going to throw a flag for offensive holding on that threshold, that defensive holding better be humongous for us to call defensive holding. JD. Absolutely. So I will stand here and tell you, is this offensive holding? Absolutely. If you called this, where's the enforcement spot this year? Previous spot. What do you think the defense is going to do? Decline. Okay? They're going to decline it. Okay, so talk about crew threshold, crew philosophy, why it's so important as a football to work with your crew as much. You're going to learn each other. You're going to understand what you're looking for when it comes to foul threshold. Okay, so yes, this is offensive holding. All right. Wait for the next one, guys. Wait for the next one. All right, so offensive holding again. Can we officiate holding by a still picture? No. For all we know, number 16's feet were never taken away, and he just sprinted off and caught an 80-yard touchdown pass. All right, so if anyone ever says, how is this not holding? We can't do that. All right. And show. Clip 58. Notice who's on offense now. Different team, right? Okay, here we go. Touchdown. All right, so we have a grab inside the body frame. So we start all good. All right, all good. What does he actually start doing with his hands now, though? It almost looks like he's got the outside one open now, right? Was that big enough? Was it not big enough? I don't know. That's going to be up to your judgment. But I could tell you one thing. Was it bigger than the last one not called? What made it bigger than the one on the last one not called? Touchdown. Okay, touchdown. All right, so again, I think this is a courageous call. It's not the big one where the grandma could see. We all saw the one that the grandma could see, and it wasn't called. All right. This one is a courage one. This, I think, is a grab and restrict. He doesn't allow that defender to make a play on that ball carrier. Okay. So offensive, these are the big bucks ones. All right. So whether you call offensive holding or do not call offensive holding, the best advice I could give you, categorize it. Be able to explain to yourself how it affected the opponent. Be able to explain to yourself how it affected the play. Then throw on it. If you think it's a foul, it's not. Question? So, yeah, I mean, back judge or the H. I mean, now that I'm seeing the whole play from the beginning, middle, of end, either the H or the back judge. My crew, I know a couple of you are in here. This is a good one to have 2 flags down. All right, we don't love Me Too flags, but semifinal Class A hasn't been a flag all game. 2 easy officials to call it. Go ahead.
It's gotta fit in. Pockets.
Yep.
And if it doesn't, just because it looks like it's a foul, I think that's what you gotta think about, because just because it looks odd doesn't mean it's a foul. So if it doesn't fit in one of those.
Yeah. You still have to fit it. Grab and restrict, hook and turn, hook and dip, tackle, takedown. Allow the quarterback to get outside. Allow the running back to gain for a positive yards. Did not allow the defender to make a play on the ball. You still have to be able to categorize it, and absolutely. If you're like, what just happened there? Take your missed call before your incorrect call. Take your missed call. All right, this is the last slide. All right, goal line / hard spot. All right, so goal line, we're just going to have it play out. All right, so we're kind of stuck in the middle here, right? I don't have the down or distance, but what do we have? We're snapping inside the 10. So line of scrimmage officials, where should you go at the snap? Except line to gain. Okay. So yes, the mechanics book says, hey, we're snapping at the 10 or in. I got to get to the goal line. But I have a line to gain here. All right. So I have to now split the difference. All right. So yes, goal line at the snap, but now I have line to gain. So I'm going to stop at that line to gain. All right. So now we talk about hard spot versus soft spot. No matter where this ball carrier is tackled, since we're inside the 10 going in, it is considered a hard spot. All right. So yes, we might put it at the 6.5. Yes, we might put it at the 2.5. Yes, we might put it at the 7 3/4. We are inside the 10. We have to be perfect. Okay. So I wanted to go over that double line because, gosh darn, look how close that is to the line of gain. And we ran past it. So from a coach's standpoint, up top, what's that offensive coordinator thinking? First down. Now you're coming back? Well, shoot, that coach was already on to the next play, 1st and goal. Right? Oh, now he's being told, oh, shoot, it's 4th down and a half yard? Ugh. Different package. All right, so mechanics are huge.
Well, this is what you're talking about, crossfield mechanics. If that run came out past the number, go to our L at the bottom of the screen, and H, this would be the one all the way across the.
Absolutely. Yep. And talk about forward progress. I guess I haven't even looked at this. All right, so which official do you think has the best look at the brown on the ground? L. So me as the H, I got to know that. I am praying to good Lord my L is sprinting in and placing that ball down. All right. It's close enough to a 1st down, right? Most of us aren't going to be working on turf fields all year. All right. So do not let the umpire put this ball down, please. Dead ball officiating will be contacted, but the H&L have to put this ball on the ground just in case if we measure. Umpire should not ever put the ball down if we're measuring. Let the HRL do it. All right, there's a hard spot. Last thing that was said that really took, really hit home with me. This is all sports, by the way. Officiate with your feet. What do you think's meant by that? Move with the purpose to get the angle, to get the position to make the call. If you move and officiate with your feet, guess what goes astronomically high? Judgment. All right, so if you ever wonder, how can I get better judgment? Officiate with your feet. Hard spot, soft spot, goal line, forward progress, crossfield mechanics. All right, officiate with your feet. Before I cut you loose, and I think I did a darn good job getting you out of here on time. So these are the updated crews. A lot of changes. If you are in this room, whether watching it live on YouTube, watching it back on YouTube, I am still looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 alternates. All right, to be subs. So if you can't work every Friday, all right, so Josh, you said you might be able to help out some. I'm going to find you a crew, so I might be down to 8. And I am looking for a back judge on Walter Durston's crew. All right, so if somebody is in here, does not have a varsity crew, and has the courage, yes, I could do this. Get in touch with me because I have a back judge opening, and I could use 8 to 9 more subs. Okay. With that being said, we're going to end the live video. If you have questions for me, please don't leave. Whether it be arbiter, uniform, schedule, don't leave if you have a question for me. Thank you for taking time out today, 5 minutes early. Boom. Let's do it.
Sean, will you post the lines?
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that. So the question is, do I post these slides?